coming back with another bullseye tutorial here today on the channel. I wanted to show y'all a really dope way that I like to use to get upfront vocals, and that's going to be showing you guys how I like to use transient designers on vocals here today. So if you guys do like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's listen to the song right now.
Pobre pero no morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar. Aquí somos reales, tenemos un solo vestuario. Los Phillies tiramos rifles pa' los billos, pa' los muertos ramos. Ya no pecamos, pero se pescó pa' allá donde estamos. El Dios lo muestra solo por más que Dios llamo. Nacimos a herir de villanos, siempre anda brillamos. Está despillo que yo no disparo, pero tengo par de gente con el dedo en el gatillo. En la calle grillo y así es sencillo. Es que se meten en el medio los martillos. Te presto mis cojones. Si los tuyos no te los ponen, no bateo honrones, pero ustedes los bateo con cojones.
Okay, so if you guys do want a full mix breakdown of that, you know, let me drop it down below. I'm happy to break that down. That's a dope ass song. I love that song so much, bruh. You know, it's kind of like those dope, really Annuel, Bad Bunny, Eladio Carrion type of vocals, you know, mainstream shit, you feel me? So yeah, most important thing about this, you know, song and transient designers is understand how to get things up front. Now, sometimes not every song necessarily even needs vocals to be up front. You know, I kind of see it like a soundstage, bruh. When you listen to the beat specifically, like when I approach a mix, right, I'm thinking about the positioning. You know, I'm thinking like I'm a military commander. You know, who gonna be my soldiers up in the front? Who gonna be my snipers in the back? You feel me? That's why I start thinking like a little bit, right? So that's how I approach mixes. I listen to the beat, and the beat was kind of woon, doon, 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 doon. It kind of has like that atmospheric, in the cloud, ozone, you know, cloud 9 type of vibes when you hear the beat, doon, 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 doon. So I knew, okay, boom, my 2-track beat, my instrumental, the music is naturally gonna fall back. That's gonna be my sniper. You feel me? That's gonna be my bodyguard, my stepper in the background. You feel me? So who's gonna be the upfront star? You feel me? And I knew it was gonna be the lead vocal, but that's where I think transient designers really come in helpful to getting an upfront vocal. You know, oftentimes the transients of a vocal is very underrated because that is what tells you how close somebody is. You know, like usually when you hear like that type of mouth spitting saliva, that automatically triggers your brain, your ear to know, oh shit, that motherfucker right behind me. You know, sometimes, you know, a breathing as well, breaths as well, lets you know somebody's kind of close to you, is associated with proximity. So that's how a dope, different way I like to use transient designers to get an upfront vocal. A dope one from Waves is the smack attack, and I like to use just a little bit of attack, right? Because the vocal was kind of like feeling flat a little bit, you feel me, at this point, you know? Like when he sent me the stems for the vocal, like if you see right here, like it was kind of like the wet vocals and stuff like that. So it had already been processed, right? So I was trying to figure out how can I put some air inside of the airhead? How can I put some air back inside of the balloon, you feel me? So I use a transient designer.
Pobre pero no morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar. Aquí somos reales, tenemos un solo vestuario. Los Phillies tiramos rifles pa' los billos, pa' los muertos ramos. Ya no pecamos, pero se pescó pa' allá donde estamos. El Dios lo muestra solo por más que Dios llamo. Nacimos a herir de villanos, siempre anda brillamos. Está despillo que yo no disparo, pero tengo par de gente con el dedo en el gatillo. En la calle grillo y así es sencillo. Es que se meten en el medio los martillos. Te presto mis cojones. Si los tuyos no te los ponen, no bateo honrones, pero ustedes los bateo con cojones. En nombre de los muertos prendiendo unos blones. Llevamos tiempo en esto y ahora estamos como se supone, muchos en la buena.
Now you start to hear a little bit of the thunder. Like, and that, for me, bruh, it was very important to do that shit because he's rapping in Spanish. And like, I took Spanish in school, and I remember they used to always talk about in Spanish, like the inflections of somebody's voice, specifically like in like Spanish language, right? You have people like Dominicans, right? Who like roll their R's like rata. You feel me? Like Dominican people, they roll their R's like crazy, bruh. You feel me? So me already kind of understanding that shit, bruh, no cap. I was like, yo, the vocals need more transients. You feel me? they need more transients because that kind of helps you understand like a little bit more of the tone of his vocal too, like the kind of the character of his vocal, like a very flat. If I would have left his vocal to be flat like that, it would have been kind of dull. It would have been kind of skimpy and skinny. You feel me? So I added a little bit of those transients back into his vocal so you can hear a little bit more of the like I don't know Spanish, but I definitely do know that different people from different Spanish countries, they have different ways of speaking Spanish. You feel me? So another great transient designer is the SPL transient designer. Usually I'm only just pushing a little bit of attack. You feel me?
El año pasado ustedes se quedan repitentes, quieren ser yo pero tragarse mi leche no hay sentido en competir con un incompetente. Reciben atención solo si estoy ausente. Díganle a su baby que no llamen que no estoy presente. Yo sigo berreando sin oponer. No hay sentido en competir con un incompetente. Reciben atención. No hay sentido en competir con un incompetente. Reciben atención solo si estoy ausente. Díganle a su baby que no llamen que no estoy presente. Yo sigo berreando sin oponente. Millonario pero en la mente. El año pasado ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser yo pero tragarse mi leche no es suficiente. Enrolando Philly con el hash, de Montevideo my wash, después que tenga todo que remash, missing.
You could definitely hear what I'm saying because when I bypass that transient designer, it feels like his vocal starts to become flat. You feel me? It feels like a flat like sheet of paper or something like that. You feel me? I want it to feel like an actual piece of wood that has thickness to it. So transient designer is a great way to add thickness to a vocal as well. And you know, this is a very important thing for me, bruh, especially because sometimes what happened is maybe you might have a couple layers of compression on a vocal, right? So you compressing the vocal with an RVox, you compressing it with a C4. The de-esser is also, you know, doing some compression too on the high end. You know, you got the channel strip doing compression. You're doing all these layers of compression, and sometimes you do have your vocal compressed the way you do, but you're losing the dynamics. That's where you might want to, you know, use that transient designer. You feel me? This is a different technique I'm trying to show y'all, is how to destroy the vocal with the compression to get it nice sitting in place, right? So it's even though it's up front, it's not bouncing up and forward in front of you. Like the vocal's up front because of the compression, right? It's getting held like this, but it still has a little bit of the character, right? So it's like you use the compression to hold the vocal, but then towards the end of the vocal chain, you use the transient designer to bring back in the character so the vocal doesn't sound completely flat. Bro, I know you hear it, bro. It's Spanish music, bro. Like if you can just definitely hear the in between his voice when I bypass it in and out.
No hay sentido en competir con un incompetente. Reciben atención solo si estoy ausente. Díganle a su baby que no llamen que no estoy presente. Yo sigo berreando sin oponente. Millonario pero en la mente. El año pasado ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser yo pero mente. El año pasado ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser yo pero tragarse mente. El año pasado ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser mente. El año pasado ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser yo pero mente. El año pasado ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser yo pero tragarse mi leche no es suficiente.
Yeah, so at that point, you know, we were running into a situation where the transients of the vocal, they give the impact to the vocal, you feel me? And sometimes when you're doing all that processing, you're trying to duck out a little bit of the high mid, you compressing, you know, depending on also too, is like the attack time of your compressors too. Like the more fast attack compression you use, that will set the vocal back in general because, you know, the transients, they actually have the most energy, that gust of air. You know, back in the day, usually what people would do is they would just work the microphone. Like, for example, they already know they're going to say probably. If they already know they're going to say probably, what they'll do is they'll take like a little step back away from the microphone, already kind of anticipating that plosive that's coming out of it. So for me personally, I feel like nowadays, that's kind of what music lacks, is managing those, you know? Sometimes I might automate the transient designer. I might only use it on a certain word when I want somebody to say coulda, shoulda, did it. You feel me? I coulda, shoulda, did it, but I don't. If I hear something like that and I feel like the rest of my vocal chain is like flat, but I want to put emphasis on those specific words, I'll like drag it down to another track and slap on the transient designer. And the last thing I want to talk about, most importantly, is also knowing your limiter. What is your limiter? What's triggering your limiter? Like you'll see on a song like this, bruh, It was a situation where my vocal was so up front. I used the actual volume of the vocal to make it up front, right? So I made the vocal louder than the rest of the beat on purpose, like how I said. The beat is the sniper, it's in the background, it's the point guard, and the vocal was up front, it's the center. You know, it's in the paint dunking the basketball, right? So the fact that I did that on purpose, it's kind of like my vocal is the loudest thing hitting my limiter and shit like that. So just pay attention to how my limiter is mostly being triggered by my vocal and not even the actual kick.
Aguanta esta corriente, tampoco hay sentido en competir con un incompetente. Reciben atención solo si estoy ausente. Díganle a su baby que no llamen que solo por más que Dios te amo, nací moriré villano siempre. Somos reales, tenemos un solo vestuario. Los Phillies tiramos rifles pa' los billos, pa' los muertos ramos. Ya no pecamos, pero se pecó pa' ella donde estamos. El Dios lo muestra solo por más que Dios te amo, nací moriré villano, siempre anda brillamos. Está despillo que yo no disparo, pero tengo par de gente con el dedo en el gatillo. Coronal, pobre pero no morimos millonarios, la envidia lo va a matar.
So that's something to also be wary of, bruh. You know, how is your vocal hitting your limiter? You feel me? Your bus compressor and all that shit like that, because those are also eating into the transients of your vocal too. You feel me? So you see, like, usually when you put a limiter, like usually the kick is the loudest thing that's, you know, pushing the limiter, but you hear it when the vocal comes in and the kick, like it's like mostly limiting mostly the vocal type shit. So understanding that, bro, look at your limiter, look at your bus compressor, look at your master fader, right? See, what is it eating it up? Is it eating up mostly the kick and the bass, or is the vocal also being gobbled up and sucked into the vacuum too? So me peeping that on my master fader, I'm like, damn, you know, like I like how the vocals up front, but that limiter is eating up my vocal though, low key. Boom. That's when I went back in there and I ran into the transient designer to boost them transients back so my vocal still feels full because the limiter is eating it up. So, you know, this is kind of like a really different concept, bro. Like, this is really different, trying to use that transient designer on your vocal to destroy the vocal, but then rebuild it back up like a goddamn Lego, you feel me, or a building block, you feel me, like breaking the building and rebuilding it back up, you feel me? So yeah, this is pretty much the end of the video that I have here today. I hope you guys were able to learn something. This is like a different type of technique that I use. I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Suggest more suggestions down below, and check out the description to support the channel. Appreciate y'all now, YouTube gang. Peace.